get it. Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson. Wait until you see what they did for Kelsey Plum tonight. They get all the calls. Touch fouls, anything. And guess what happens? Aaliyah Boston, the best center in the game. And guess what happens to her? She gets called for every touch foul and ends up in foul trouble this entire season and is still putting up MVP type numbers. What happens with Caitlin Clark? Have you ever seen her get a touch foul? A phantom call? No. The physicality, that's the WNBA when it comes to Caitlin Clark. But anybody else, the physicality disappears. And it's
this morning that we probably need to hold out again today. It's just, it really is a day-to-day thing. And I think for us, making sure that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. It's anybody who's had some of these types of injuries understand that sometimes it's a process. She's a quick healer and she's been doing everything that she can to get back on the floor. So, we just want to make sure that we're hypersensitive to the big picture.
In the fourth quarter, the momentum completely shifted. The Sparks scored all but one of their buckets inside the paint, and to make matters worse, they got to the line for 9 free throws. It wasn't just offense, it was domination at the point of attack. The Fever's defense crumbled when it mattered most. Before that, everything was clicking. The Indiana Fever had just crushed Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings. They dismantled the Minnesota Lynx to win their first ever Commissioner's Cup title. They even obliterated Aaliyah Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, 3 straight wins, momentum rising fast. Everything pointed to an easy win over the lowly Los Angeles Sparks, even without Caitlin Clark. But what happened next will make your blood boil. The officiating in this game? Absolutely atrocious. So bad that head coach Stephanie White could only muster 5 words that said it all. "We should have won this game." She continued. There were inconsistencies in the officiating. Wait until you see the second half, and I have everything. Let's be honest, Clark being sidelined again was already a blow. This marked her 5th straight missed game due to a nagging left groin injury. The Fever's offensive system, built around her playmaking and court vision, collapsed without her. The team just didn't look the same. Coach Stephanie White addressed the injury pregame. It really is a day-to-day thing. We're prioritizing her long-term health. She's doing everything she can to return. But we have to be hypersensitive to the big picture. Then came another gut punch. Damaris Dantas was off representing Brazil in the FIBA AmeriCup, removing a key piece from the bench rotation. As if that wasn't enough, DeWanna Bonner reportedly quit the team entirely, walking away mid-season. 3 vital players gone. And yet, Indiana was still a heavy favorite. ESPN's matchup predictor gave the Fever a 72.9% chance of victory. MGM had them favored by 6.5 points. Fans, analysts, even oddsmakers expected them to roll past the Sparks. The Sparks, after all, are one of the worst teams in the WNBA. But that's the thing about basketball, it's not just about talent. It's about chemistry, timing, and execution. And without Clark orchestrating the floor, Indiana's system looked lost. The pace slowed. The ball didn't move. Aaliyah Boston wasn't getting the paint touches she thrives on. Kelsey Mitchell tried to lead, and Ari McDonald hustled. But something was off. They had the pieces. Boston, Mitchell, McDonald, they all fought hard. Boston put up 23 points and 12 rebounds. She was a beast in the paint. But it wasn't enough. The worst part? The officiating. While Caitlin Clark routinely gets mauled with no calls, players like Aaliyah Wilson and Kelsey Plum seem to get phantom whistles on contact plays. Aaliyah Boston? She picked up soft fouls all night long, despite playing some of the most physical and fundamentally sound defense in the league. Where's the consistency? The WNBA keeps claiming they want to grow the game, that they want fairness and integrity. But these games keep exposing cracks in the officiating, and it's costing teams wins. The Fever should have walked away with this game. Instead, they walked away wounded again. So now we ask you, do the refs have it out for the Fever? Are the stars being protected selectively? Is the WNBA mishandling its brightest talent? Let us know in the comments below, because something needs to change. The Fever had everything they needed for a win. Aaliyah Boston was dominant. She finished with 23 points and 12 rebounds in what should have been a winning performance. She shot 9 of 17 from the field and hit 5 of 7 from the free throw line. When she finally got the ball in key moments, she showed exactly why she's one of the most special players in the league. Here's Mitchell off the screen. Can't connect on the three. Boston grabs the offensive rebound, puts it back up, and won. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell stepped up massively in Caitlin Clark's absence. She dropped 19 points, knocked down 3 three-pointers, and became only the second player in franchise history to play 251 games for the Fever, just behind legend Tamika Catchings. Her leadership was felt throughout the game as she kept Indiana competitive against a team they were supposed to beat. Shot clock down to 5. Kick out Mitchell? Oh yes. And let's not forget Natasha Howard. The veteran forward lit up the scoreboard with 21 points and 9 rebounds, shooting 8 of 11 from the field. She knocked down a 3, hit 4 of 6 free throws, and brought experience the young roster desperately needed. Howard, left alone, buries the 3. Together, Boston, Mitchell, and Howard carried the Fever on their backs. Championship-level performances. But it still wasn't enough.
Why?
Because the officiating stole this game. The refs were an absolute disaster. From phantom fouls to missed calls, it was one of the worst officiated games we've seen all season. Sophie Cunningham got grabbed around the neck and thrown down, and instead of a foul, the refs called a jump ball. Look at this. She literally has her in a headlock. And they call that a jump ball? And it didn't stop there. Aaliyah Boston was in foul trouble all night, despite barely making contact on multiple plays. She's an all-star, a leader, and one of the best centers in the game. And yet, she couldn't play freely. Meanwhile, Kelsey Plum elbows Lexi Hull and steps over her no call. McDonald gets hit, they call it on her. Howard gets slashed in the face out of bounds. No whistle. The message? The refs were calling the game for the Sparks. Boston didn't even touch her. That's 3 ghost fouls. This is beyond frustrating. Even their heroic efforts couldn't overcome the officiating disaster. You could see the heartbreak on the players' faces. They fought so hard, only to have the game ripped away by referees who wanted to be the main characters. After the game, head coach Stephanie White, usually composed, could only say 5 words that summed it all up. We didn't get the calls. That's it. 5 words that told the entire story. 5 words that every Fever fan was already shouting at their TV. White continued in the press conference, explaining the fourth quarter collapse. They had all but one of their buckets inside the paint and 9 free throws. We just didn't get the stops and we didn't get the whistles. Even through all the noise, this loss proved something special. It proved that this Fever team is built to win championships. Missing Caitlin Clark. Missing Dantas. Missing Bonner. And yet they still nearly beat a WNBA team. That's not a failure. That's a sign of resilience. A team that refuses to fold under pressure. And here's the good news. Clark's return is coming soon. She's been practicing, warming up, sitting with the team. White says her recovery is being prioritized, but fans could see her back as early as Wednesday versus the Golden State Valkyries. Imagine this starting lineup when Clark returns. Clark running the offense. Boston controlling the paint. Mitchell hitting clutch threes. Hull flying around on defense. Howard anchoring both ends with championship poise. That's not just a good team. That's a title contender. This core has been battle-tested. They've gone through adversity, public criticism, bad calls, missing players, and they've responded with fire. Mitchell has averaged over 21 points per game in Clark's absence. Boston is putting up MVP-level numbers despite foul trouble. Howard is thriving in her leadership role.